fans, it's James Kalm, the guy on the bike, bringing you another half-assed report. I've been running here at Mitchel-Innes in Nash. We're gonna walk around and look at an exhibition of Joseph Beuys multiples. Stay tuned. Well, this is quite an extensive collection, and well, I think Joseph Beuys was perhaps one of the most influential European artists of the last 50 years. Some people would say the most. Well, this is such a massive show that I can just make a kind of a brief overview of this. Oh, it looks like he's strapping on a piece of iron onto his foot. And this is a huge collection, and I believe a lot of these pieces are multiples. And we've got about 10 minutes before closing time, so I'm not going to have a chance to go around and give you the titles and dimensions of everything, but we'll take a brief walking tour through and see some of the work. Well, I'll just read a bit from the press release. Mitchel-Innes Nash is delighted to announce a large-scale exhibition of Joseph Beuys multiples from the collection of Reinhard Schlegel, consisting of over 500 works spanning from the early 1960s to his death in 1986. This exhibition is the most significant collection of Beuys multiples to be shown in New York to date. Okay, so, well, this is quite an event if you're a fan of Beuys and conceptual art in general. Well, I believe it was in 1963 that he published his quote-unquote autobiography, in which he sort of puts forth the legend of him being rescued. After he was shot down, he was theoretically rescued by a tribe of Tartars who covered him in fat and wrapped him in felt and brought him back to life. Although a lot of people have criticized him because although a lot of his work was seen as a critique of German nationalism and the National Socialists and kind of the whole idea of the Führer, that in a lot of ways he was just replacing it with a messianic art guru. One of the things that's interesting to note here is his use of these vitrines, these cases, and a lot of people like Jeff Koons and Damien Hirst have started using this device, but I think Beuys was maybe one of the first contemporary artists to really use this a lot. Now, I actually remember my first encounter with Joseph Beuys. I was at the Neue Nationalgalerie in Berlin, and I happened to see a bunch of black slate blackboards laying on the floor with notations like this kind of scribbled on them. And, well, I didn't know exactly what to think, but his name stuck in my mind, and as I started getting more involved in German contemporary art, I became a fan. This is great Filzwinkel with this felt. Well, I think that Beuys kind of fills a unique place in the history of German art, because he's the first post-war German artist that kind of worked his way back into the national or the international avant-garde, or whatever was being portrayed as the avant-garde at the time. And well, he had a lot of headwinds to buck. And he was also someone that created this this persona. You know, he's got his little Homburg hat, his hunting vest, this little side pack. And in a lot of ways, he kind of promoted himself as a contemporary shaman of some kind. And, well, I'll give you just a brief outline of his bio. As I understand it, he was, I believe, born in the Rhineland, and actually became a member of the Hitler Youth. And there's a picture of him, and I believe that's Blinky Palermo, one of his students. Attended the Nuremberg rallies, and he was working or drafted into the Luftwaffe, and was shot down over the Crimea. I think he was maybe in an internment camp for 6 months or something like that after the war. And then he started studying at the, I guess, the Art Academy in Dusseldorf. Studied there for years, and then at some point he had a breakdown, and some of his supporters who owned a farm actually got him to go out and sort of recover on the farm for 6 months or a year, and then eventually he was brought back to the academy to teach this monumental sculpture. You know, he's actually a very nice draftsman. I remember seeing some of his drawings like this in Berlin. And I think you can see where people like Julian Schnabel probably were influenced by some of this. At some point, he came in contact with George Mitchel-Innes and Alan Capro, and that was about the time that Fluxus was starting to form up, and he invited them to come to his school and have a festival. And I guess at some point during a performance by Alan Capro, he did his first piece with fat. A lot of his work involves lard. Anyway, so that was in the early 60s, and he was very prolific. And a lot of this work is dealing with kind of the mythology of, you know, the North, the alchemist, and I think that he also saw his practice as a kind of a cultural therapy, some kind of a healing of the German spirit that had been perverted and destroyed during World War II. Well, I guess through his contacts with Fluxus and some of the other conceptual artists, he became very involved with performance and political activism. This is great. So we've got some of his metal pieces. Now, a lot of this, like I said, is dealing with alchemy and kind of his symbolic use of materials like the felt and the copper, using these as tools to focus cosmic forces, maybe. Oh, it's like some sketches there. And I think his exhibition at the Guggenheim that was helped organized by Willoughby Sharp back in 1980 was maybe the first time I had a chance to see a large collection of his work. One of the things that I like is that although a lot of this work is made out of very simple kind of pedestrian materials like wood, felt, fat, lead, he had a wonderful sensibility and was really able to use these materials in a very, what can I say, appealing way. I guess these are etchings with chine coulée. And in the end, he became one of the founders of the Green Movement. And through some of his political activities, I think that he was kind of kicked out of his job at the academy. And so he started the Free University. Well, this little sled is one of his kind of archetypical objects, and it was kind of his idea of something you would use for survival. You could travel with that. You got a little piece of lard, I guess, you could eat. You got your flashlight to see through the dark. You got your felt blanket to keep warm. So this is James Kalm giving you a little walkthrough of Joseph Beuys' the Reinhard Schlegel collection here at Mitchel-Innes and Nash. And as always, thank you, Kate. Thanks, Silver Cowboy.